Good morning, honorable judges and all participants here. Here I am standing as the first speaker of the government. The motion says that this House prefers a world where critical resources are governed by the International Material Agency. Before we go to our argument, let me break down what this motion is saying about. So International Material Agency refers to an agency that would act as a global organization with the goal to manage critical resources, including but not limited to oil, natural gas, rare earth elements, and reduce risk of the shortage of trade conflict and encourage more sustainable and responsible ways of using and extracting more resources. So what about the critical resource? So critical resources refers to oil, natural gas, rare earth element, or etc. or something like that. And let me crystallize this motion first. So our position for this motion is a developed country such as Indonesia. And the things that we were gonna discuss about is how world is currently organized by International Material Agency as the institution that work in critical resources. And let's move to the status quo. Some and many countries organize their own resources of their critical resources with their own, and they sometimes use private institutions that organize their critical resources in their country. For example, in Indonesia we have the Freeport. Freeport is a private institution that organizes the critical resources in Papua, Indonesia. And what's the problem with that status quo? So some of that private institution or maybe government-owned institution is not connected to the world. Some of them is walking on their own way. It's such a pathetic situation. Why I can say that? When the institution is not connected to the world, they never know how to manage or sell their critical resources to the world. They never know that maybe there is a war that make them cannot sell or buy the critical resources as usual. For the example, when there is our war in Iran, our sales channels are changed and we can sell or buy the critical resources from them because they having a war. But what's the impact? As the developed countries such as Indonesia, it will be hard for them to increase their income or just connected their life in the future because they will get shocked if they can sell or buy their critical resources as usual. But we can remember that critical resources is such a perfect income to get money, and all of the country needs the critical resources. And then so because of our status quo that says some of many countries organize their own resources or their critical resources with their own or with the private agency, and the problem is when the institution is not connected to the world, they never know how to manage or sell or buy their critical resources. So our stance for this motion as the first speaker of the government, we firmly agree with the motion that says this House prefers a world where critical resources are governed by the International Material Agency. Because we want the developed country as Indonesia is going to be better way and produce their own money more perfectly. Because we know that with the good economic growth, the people in the country will be more happily with their life and be more successful. And what's the goal? So before we move to the goal, let me explain. So International Material Agency is more professional to organize all of the critical resources in this world. Why? Because they must select the people that have professional or majoring on the things such as critical resources, and that will make the critical resources be more organized more wisely and professional. It will lead us to the first goal that says we want to organize all of the critical resources in the world more wisely, professional, and fair. For the International Material Agency resources will ask for the other country to declare or send the people for working in this agency. This agency will be owned by the country that will coming to this International Material Agency, and it will make EMA is or International Material Agency is more responsible because of there's much of representative from the other country that will join the International Material Agency. The second reason is International Material Agency will protected by all of their participants because they are owned by more than one country. So for the example, Indonesia, Iran, or some of the country in this world join International Material Agency. This International Material Agency will be more stronger than have we know. And International Material Agency also will know about the world situation more than the private owned or government owned agency because there's much of representative that will work with the International Material Agency. So when there's a war in a country, International Material Agency will know about the problem and updated to every problem in the world. For the example, the representative of Indonesia will update how their country life to the International Material Agency. So the International Material Agency will know how this situation in the Indonesia, or maybe the other country will send their representative, and their representative will update it how their country is. And number two is we want to make all of our country is more or can make the money more and grow their economical. But what's the reality of the motion that says this House prefer a world where critical resources are governed by the International Material Agency to this goal? So when all of our critical resources are organized by the International Material Agency, all of the problem in this world is updated, right? So the country that joined with International Material Agency will know how to sell, and they can discuss how to sell or buy a critical resources clearly even there is a war or problem in this world. Imagine there's a country that make a war or just join a war, and of course they can sell or they can buy their critical resources like usual. And if we sell our critical resources to the country that is war, their country will be unstable in an economy, so it's not going to have the profit for us. So it will lead us to the developed country, or as Indonesia is making more money or gaining the stable economic because of they knew how to sell their critical resources are as usual, or move the sales targets to the other country. And it will lead us to, as developed country, to sell our critical resources wisely and get more profit from them. And it will make us, as a developed country such as Indonesia, is going to raise the stable economic, and that argument will lead us to the third goal that says about we want to make all of the people in this world happy, because when the economic in this country is stable and growth, people will be more happy to get their life because their economic gonna be so stable. Or the developed country will know where to buy or where to sell critical resources, because when a country start a war, it will make them being unstable. And let's move to the burden of proof. When the country joined International Material Agency, the country will be more able to know about world or situation or news, because there's much of country that sends a representative, so that they can discuss with each other and discuss how to sell our critical resources with more profit and raising their stable economy. Because as a developed country, we'll know that when we buy the critical resources or sell our critical resources to a country that start a war, it will lead us to the loss. And for the example, when Iran start a war, we can sell or buy critical resources from the Iran because they are not stable, and we have to change our sales target. And the impact of this motion is all of the country updated with the issue and can organize their critical resources more wisely. Opposition will say that country has the autonomy, but as a government side, we say that this motion will help the developed country to organize their critical resources as well. So because of that, our arguments, as a first speaker of the government, we have to prefer that, and we firmly agree with this motion that say this House prefers a world where critical resources are governed by the International Material Agency.